This song, Slow Down Freight Train, expresses the feeling of many African Americans in the 1920s affected by widespread migration. Black men traveled from the South to the North in search of industrial jobs, often having to leave behind their families in the process. The woman in this song cries out, pleading for the train to slow down so that she may join her man, and it's this story that artist Rose Piper portrays in her powerful painting, Slow Down Freight Train. She literally paints the other part of the picture, depicting the man in the train, whom the woman is trying to join, with his head stretched out, yearning for his woman and his home. In portraying this story, Piper leads one to believe that she desires to add to and tell more of the story, to create the emotions that this torn man is feeling. While Piper does accomplish this, her actual desire is to create emotion within us, the viewer. Rose Piper draws us into her painting, invoking emotions similar to those felt at the time, by utilizing an overlying theme of change through coloring and cubist techniques.
It was a mean old train that took my man away from here.
Almost every element in Slow Down Freight Train follows the theme of change, but to gain a deeper understanding of how emotionally backed and necessary this change is, we must know the context of the painting's story. The 1910s through 30s was the era of intense sadness for Southern African Americans, which came to be known as the Great Migration. Society refused to accept blacks, lynchings still occurred, and Jim Crow laws were heavily enforced. Though free from slavery, African Americans seemed to be more trapped than ever in the South, held and beaten down. Widespread violence and the lack of opportunities in the South made the prospect of moving northward towards a more promising future the only option for these African Americans. Mostly men moved northward, away from their families and friends, to obtain the available jobs offered to laborers, solidly acquiring these jobs before bringing family. When moving, though, often inner emotional conflict arose from the juxtaposition of feelings such as anguish for having to leave home and feelings of hope for a better, brighter future. Change was frightening as the future was unknown, but there was no other choice than to change. Rose Piper is so strongly able to convey this mix of emotions all throughout her painting.
There's 3 trains ready, but none ain't going my way.
Visually, Slow Down Freight Train centers around the body of the man, and immediately the vivid red shirt catches the eye. With red being symbolic of emotions such as anger, death, and love, it says quite a lot. The man is angry to leave with his home now dead, but he does it for his love. He resents the change, and just as this color is most vivid, the idea of changing home is most crucial. We can see the contrasting green-colored landscape passing by. This is a land which has forced the man out, but the man's face is colored the same. This is because he is linked to the land, his home, but this also links violence and harshness towards the man. Change is needed to rid the sorrow directed towards the man. The light green sky above represents that change, showing that there is hope as the coming horizon is lighter. Likewise, on the train itself is a spectrum of yellow hues, darker at the bottom and lighter at the top, representing racism in the land. The train is the means of change that will take him to the lighter shades or less racist land the further north he goes. This notion of color representing the ideas centered around change works because color and its connotations is inherently something we all understand. We all, psychologically, have similar associations for color regardless of race, culture, or gender. Warm color is synonymous with day and night, good and evil. They are brought about through how we as humans learn. Rose Piper is aware of this, and specifically colors to paint her greater picture.
I've got the freight train blues, but I'm too darn mean to cry.
Change can furthermore be seen in aspects of the painting besides color. An essential artistic technique that Piper employs to convey her theme is cubism. The idea of cubism is to, rather than present a traditional painting from one fixed perspective, show many parts of a subject at the same time, from multiple angles, to create a seemingly abstract, deeply realistic piece of work. We see more than what we do in a traditional painting. For example, this portrait of Picasso by Juan Riss shows his face comprised of sections of his face from different perspectives. We are able to see new, impossible angles, allowing for stronger emotional perception. This is used in slow-down freight trains, in areas such as the man's face and neck. Rose Piper paints both the front and back of this man's neck to elongate it, exaggerating the associated emotions and to also show the face, a pose that wouldn't be possible traditionally. The man, in craning his neck, expresses longing for his home, and his open mouth shows sadness. He is somber about the change occurring. Piper continues to contort this man's body and has him on one knee while gripping the door of the boxcar. His grip holds him back. Again, he is yearning for his home, but he knows he must go. And all this internal conflict has overpowered him, forcing him to fall upon his knee. Similarly to how we understand feelings represented in color, we, as humans, are innately able to understand expressions and form associations to expressions through the nature of learning. Through this mechanism, Rose Piper even further instills her theme of change.
I'm gonna love that man till the day he dies.
It's clear that numerous elements of the painting follow this theme of change. Rose Piper presents so much evidence of change that the viewer is forced to take notice. What may not be so clear is why she does this. Again, Piper paints to invoke emotions within us. Her theme of change accomplishes this. Everyone has felt change, from sources extending from growth beyond adversity to even physical growth. It's the nature of life, of human life, to constantly go through changes. Change is perhaps the most relatable concept of all, allowing for us to relate to the man's conflicting changes. We may not have specifically had such intense changes as the man, but we have felt the feelings conflicting change brings. We understand, remembering our emotions felt, and begin to feel some of what the man is feeling by being able to relate. Through perceptions we draw in aspects like color in the man's cubist form, we understand more and more the gravity of what weighs upon the man, and feel the man's emotions alongside him, astonished at how he could bear this. Piper gives more and more to digest, but then overwhelms us with such a loaded scene that we cannot possibly feel the extent of the man's emotion. At this point, we feel the ultimate emotion that Piper is intending: empathy.
But the sun's gonna shine in my back door someday.
Rose Piper so intricately weaves simple, relatable thoughts within her complex artistry. Her understanding of how we grasp these thoughts allows her to paint so powerfully. She guides us in understanding what's upon this man, and we feel emotions alongside him until we can no longer, ultimately empathizing with him. How Piper cleverly lays out her painting, relying on human mechanisms of understanding, she allows for any person, any human being, to feel the emotions felt by African Americans during this time. Anyone can relate with change. Anyone can understand the associated context given through artistic techniques, and anyone can feel relatable emotions in that context, allowing for empathy. Rose Piper effectively communicates messages of the malicious effects discrimination takes upon its victims, driving understanding and empathy for the inner turmoils felt. By giving people this knowledge, she hopes that it will be drawn upon so that discriminations and all forms of inequality may not happen in the future.